Hello, cellos. This is a quick tutorial for the part 5 of the Pirates medley. So if you've seen the music, make sure you have the one with the most recent date written down at the bottom of it, because if it doesn't have the right date on it, we might have the wrong parts or the wrong rhythms that have changed a few times. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the rhythms, starting at the very end. You'll notice that from G on, it's mostly in 12/8. So that's one. If we counted it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that would be a lot of clicks really fast. So we usually think of it as being in 4, but instead of having 2 beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're having 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so triplets on every, or 3 beats on every big beat. So if you see all the dots, don't worry about it. That's just to make it equal 3 notes, so that when you're playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the reason that's important is there are a couple places where he's going to do those, what they call hemiola, like at measure 138, where we have those are actual quarter notes. And instead of going 1 and 2 and now we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, but the same number of eighth notes are going by. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's now 1 and 2 and da 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 da. And so if you were counting one, it's like if you're wondering, you could play like eighth notes just to practice the rhythm. But it's not a whole lot faster. But if you're looking for the big 1, 2, 3, 4, the 2 is going to come in between the second and third of those notes. So 1, 2, it's like 1 and 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll be able to hear it on the recording, and you can practice it. If you set a metronome to click on all the eighth notes, the eighth notes are going to stay constant the whole time, even with it. Now, the other things to watch out for when we have down at letter I, watch out. There are a couple of spots there where the rhythm goes back and forth between being 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, like right there at I. And you might want to mark. I will actually mark in the music like a big beat where the big beats go, and then you can tell, like on measure 167, 1 and bum 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 bum. That's going to be the trickiest rhythm right there, just going up because you're coming to the next page. And then it switches immediately back to the 1 and 2 and da 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 da, the saily rhythm. So if we're going to play just from I to the end, and if we did with a click, that click, I will set the click, and we'll play to click. So 1, 2. And don't jump the gun on that last note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Dum, bum, bum, 3, 4. It's right on 4. It's right on the big 4. Now, if you back up, the section between E and F, the solo water signs part. Tony wants a smaller group, so he figured this way he would just have 1/4 of us playing those notes. So if you're Cancer, you're Pisces, you're Scorpio, if you are one of the water signs, you play those notes. If you aren't, you just rest during those periods, that part, and come back in on the next line at 101 where it says tutti, arco. If you're a water sign and you're playing pits, it's okay to stay pit and then switch back to arco as soon as you can. Because if you're trying to, that's pretty fast, and you might not be able to do that. And it's okay. I'd rather hear the plucking and then let everybody else come in with the big louds part. So, in all that, and when you're playing the offbeats, since it's the open C string, especially when you might want to it might be worth damping the string a little bit in between, otherwise it rings a long time. So it's okay to lightly touch it in between, like on the downbeats. Just don't slap it so loud you hear it. Just go. And let's see. The medallion calls, letter D. This is a bowing pattern you might want to practice a little bit, but it's just doing double ups after the 16th notes, so that when you're at speed, it's just a little da-da-da. It's almost like you're bouncing into a rubber wall with your frog. So another way that I've always played it different rhythms, but you can learn this. You might have to practice a little slower. And then use your metronome to go from that speed a little faster, a little faster, a little faster until you're up to the full 120. Now I'm going to back up to letter B. It is 1 and 2 and. So it's 1 and 2 and. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 4 is always a rest. So it's whether you play top part or bottom part, pick one. You don't want to try and do. First of all, it's awkward. There's no reason to do that. We have enough players. We can cover both. Pick one. I picked the bottom in the playthrough just so that we would have that. But you can pick this and make sure that you rest on the 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4. Low 2. So we do want each note to have a little bit of a bite, or as I tell my young students, a shark bite. You want that the catch before you actually pull the string. You want to catch it, especially on the low C string, because it doesn't like to move. It's the thickest string, it's the lowest, it's the slowest. It doesn't want to wake up. We have to wake it up to get it to start playing. So make sure your bow is catching it nice and strong to get that bite. Otherwise, you get that skating sound, and we don't want that. The other thing, which you can see a lot of what we call hairpins, crescendos, decrescendos, getting louder, getting softer. When he says get softer, really get softer, and it makes a really cool effect with all of us getting quieter and getting louder. So anytime you see a dynamic mark, try and do it. So mezzo forte doesn't need to be really loud, but when it drops down to the piano, use less bow. You don't have to rip into it like that. Save that for later when we're doing all the really loud stuff at the end. Other things you might not recognize. At letter A, the place with the 3 slashes over the notes, that means tremolo. And that, when you play tremolo, You don't want to do it with your whole arm, because that's going to make your shoulders stiff and be really hard to keep going for any length of time. It's more, again, that bouncing it against the rubber wall in your mind. And when you end, you don't want to make a big clunk on the end. Just stop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, stop. Get ready. And at the very beginning, when it's pizzicato, it doesn't say a dynamic. So I would go with forte, so that it's nice and loud so we can hear. And when you play at 13, 14, 15, all that, where it's D and A, you can either pinch around with both, the thumb under the D, the finger above the A, and pinch them into the middle to get them both at the same time. Or if you do strum, try and do it really fast so you don't get that ba-dum, ba-dum. You want to get it. And the last one, you can even cheat and use your left hand while you're getting ready to tremolo.
Go.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. Letter A. Retard 2, 1, 2, and 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Letter B. Letter C. Fermata, hold through the counts. Hold. Letter D. Letter E.
So everybody have fun, and I'll see you in the group.